Welcome to the Answers for Elders radio show. Meet the trusted experts who will give you straight answers and will help guide you on the path of later life care. Now, here's your host, founder, caregiver, and CEO, Suzanne Newman.
And welcome back, everyone, to the Answers for Elders radio network with Lori LeBay from Alzheimer's Speaks.com. And Lori is an amazing resource for all of us and an expert on Alzheimer's and dementia. And Lori, thank you again for being and sharing this hour with us. It's so nice to have you on the show.
Oh, it's wonderful to be here.
So you have been talking, we've kind of covered your personal story and the need out there of why you started Alzheimer's Speaks. But I hope that all of our listeners today, if you know of somebody that has a loved one, direct them to this amazing site, because Lori, you have an incredible resource just right there. There's so many resources. Tell us about some of the resources that's on your site.
So we just redid the site. So we try to make it real simple. So we have a free educational resource tab. And then we have one if you're looking for programs and services. And then we have one for marketing and branding as well. And the site, the name is Alzheimer's Speaks because back then no one talked about dementia, but it covers all dementia. So if you're dealing with Lewy body or if you're dealing with vascular,
which was what my mom had,
you're all welcome. And the first thing that I learned from people living with the disease was seeing how their symptoms overlap.
Yeah.
So that's one of the first things to know. But if you go to that free educational resources, these are things that we started because we wanted to raise the voice of all. So you're going to hear from people living with dementia, you're going to hear from their families, and you're going to hear from professionals in all different levels, as well as authors and playwrights and musicians and advocates. And to me, it's fascinating. And so the radio show you can access there, I call it True Talk Radio. We want to get a full story like you do here.
Yeah.
We have dementia chats where the true experts are those living with dementia. And those are a video and people love those. Those are great for people diagnosed as well as their families. I had a hospital over in the UK contact me and say, can we use these for training? I'm like, absolutely. They're like, what do you want? They're free. They're free. Use them. That's why we do them. We have, there's some quick tips that I do, dementia quick tips, which are some things that I learned in my journey. So one of the things I was going to mention, and I think it might have been your first section, you had talked about learning through the process. And one of my lessons is literally asking what's the lesson. So for example, when I'm up against a wall and I'm feeling exhausted and tired and I don't know what to do to help my loved one, and I find that sometimes I'm spinning so fast and I think I'm looking really hard for the answer, but I'm not. And I have to stop and say, what's the lesson? Tell me, what is the lesson here? And then all of a sudden I'm focused on the right thing. So all my tips are simple things that you can apply right away, but they just make you kind of stand back.
Well, and I think one of the things that you're mentioning is that I think we can get so wrapped up, you can't see the forest for the trees. And one of the things I always laugh, because some of my greatest aha moments in my life is when I'm in the shower. For some reason, when I have that hot water coming down on me and I can just let go for 5 minutes, this type A personality, right? And just all of a sudden, it's like, it gives me the space to gain perspective. And I think that is really, maybe it's a shower moment, maybe it's whatever, anybody's different. I know that's kind of when I get my greatest inspirations, about things, or when I'm driving, a long drive or something like that, where my mind is kind of just out there, I'm not thinking about the task at hand. And you're absolutely right. We can get so intense about things that need to be done that we forget. And we also forget as caregivers that, everybody's doing the best they can in a moment. And sometimes we tend to forget that, we tend to find fault with others, different things like that. I know I've done that. Or we forget to set boundaries, personal boundaries for ourselves. That's part of it too.
Oh yeah. Well, and a lot of times when you're caring for someone else, you're a magnet for everyone else for you to take care of them. And I found that out really hard, and I was just exhausted. And literally, I think I had an epiphany moment, and I wrote a story about it. And it was the difference between being a caregiver and being an enabler.
Yeah.
And what I found, like with my mom, I was definitely giving care for her, but there were so many other people. I was really enabling them. You know, when you do a good job, then it's like, well, do it for me too. You know, there's kind of that thing that happens out there. So,
very true.
you know, some other resources that people will find on the site is the Purple Angel Project, which was started by Norms McNamara over in the UK, which is a symbol that anybody can use. You can, you know, put it in, not that too many people use checks anymore, but marketing pieces, Facebook pages, all, you know, email signatures. You can utilize this symbol, which is a globe and an angel, just to get people to ask, what is it? And it opens up the door for the conversation. You know, that's what dementia friendly communities and businesses is about. And there's a whole section on that with videos and how to set those up and why. I briefly mentioned the memory cafes, which are for the care partner and the person with dementia. And those are a different type of group. I hate to even call them a support group. They're really more like a gathering of friends. And, you know, people don't want to just talk about the bad things all the time. Their friends fall away, family kind of step back many times. And so this is a place for them to have peer support, and they can laugh and they can cry, and all together. I mean, it's just such a beautiful, beautiful thing. We have a poetry section and articles that people have written that are just incredible about their journey, and people really love that section. They can access our blog. We just started a Dementia in the Arts, where I interview people around the world with dementia, and they share their artwork. And they talk about why they do it. And, you know, some have never done art before. And you look at it and go, they should be commissioned artists.
That's incredible.
Others have done art all of their life. But they talk about how do they adapt as the disease progresses? What do they get out of it? The calm, the profound, I don't even know how to word it, but this calmness in their soul that it gives them to produce these pieces of work. And some of them have great messaging, you know, with them. We've got a section of just free tools that you can go ahead and download. So your memory chip was something that I developed when I wasn't the perfect care partner for my mom, and I snapped on her because I didn't think it was funny when she repeated the same question 45 times in 10 minutes. I had stuff to do, and I yelled and I felt horrible. And we've all been there, you know.
We've all been there.
And I thought she deserves better. So
we also have a responsibility to, when we get to that point, to find the tools to gain perspective. And I think that's the key of all of this, is finding what works for you, because everybody's different, you know, and everybody's challenges are different. But and certainly their interaction with their parent or their wife or their husband or whoever they're caring for, there is certainly that element of, you know, the dynamic that has gone before. That plays into it.
Exactly. So you can download these tools. You can access our YouTube channel that has all kinds of great stuff. You can find out about public events, as well as we have a section for a memory wall. And the memory wall, I hate to say, isn't for everybody, but it's just because I wouldn't be able to keep up with it per se, but it's for people who lived with dementia who have made a profound difference in the world. And, you know, we try to highlight those. And I listed my mom there because I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing without her, you know. And
absolutely. Same here.
Yep. And so those things are really important. And then, you know, people a lot of times want programs. And so I offer a lot of different programs. They can do virtual, in person, but I've got a big long list, and all different types of designs. So from webinars and support groups to town hall meetings or screenings of a wonderful film I have called The Timeless Love is available. And then we have, marketing opportunities too, because a lot of times people have businesses and that they want to market and they want to lift. And then I have one whole section just about us. And the part that I love about this one is I have a long section about the mother behind the movement. Because again, wouldn't be doing what I'm doing without
exactly.
And, so people will hear that she was an Avon lady and really social and connected and kind of goofy, but very purposeful, always engaged, always trying to help. She was involved in hockey and church and Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts. And she was a real person. Mm-hmm. And that continues throughout the disease, and that never gets lost. Yeah. And, learning that, I think two of the most important things, you had mentioned Oprah, and Oprah was really big about talking about living in the moment, because that's the only place that we can develop or recognize joy.
Yeah.
And sometimes we get so set on the right or wrong or projecting into the future or feeling our grief that we miss that. Mm-hmm. And so that is really, really critical.
Yeah. And setting up the moments for joy, I think is a big piece of it, because again, holidays can be difficult and they can be amazing. It's what you do and how you structure them around your loved one. And that's the part that I think, it's just giving some tips on how to make it easy and how to help it flow. And I think that's one of the things that, people, once they have those tools, it helps life go so much easier, and you appreciate those special moments, which really carry you forward. So,
exactly.
Lori, how do we reach you?
Real easy. Just go to alzheimersspeaks.com, 2 S's in the middle, and you can reach us and scope out everything.
And you have all the free resources in the world that we've just talked about. And guess what? Lori and I will be back right after this. We at Answers for Elders thank you for listening. Did you know that you can discover hundreds of podcasts in our library on senior care? So visit our website and discover our decision guides that will help you also navigate decision making. Find us at answersforelders.com.